that are doing everything, and I'm saying, can I just take pictures? I'll put everything on a zip drive, or I'll send everything to Walgreens and pay for it, and you can pick up these pictures. And they will say yes. And I usually do that for assisted living and independent living facilities. It's just investing my time and 10 cents a print, so it's not crazy. Decorating a facility during the holidays, did this during COVID. Most of the facilities were not allowing anyone in, except if I said, can I drop off a Christmas tree at your front door? Well, sure, Claudia. Can I decorate the Christmas tree and leave it at your front door? Well, sure, Claudia. Can I bring it in and just plug it in? Just plug it in. Well, sure, Claudia. So and the more residents, there were more residents that complimented the living room experience that I created by going to Goodwill, Salvation Army, I'm not sure, a thrift store as early as November, and start picking out Christmas trees and getting dollar store decorations and putting that together for them. And then you put a little sign, a little frame that says provided by Visiting Angels. So always market yourself. During Halloween and Christmas, we did photo booth setup, and we would put everything in a bag and drop it off curbside for the activity directors. We still weren't able to get into the facilities. So we had a backdrop and little props that they could just have the little stick, little props, boas, fun things that you get at the dollar store. Guys can purchase these things. You can go to Party City, girls. I mean, it's just fun little items to put in there to encourage residents to get out of their rooms, because that's the biggest challenge that activity directors are having. They may not want to participate in a group, but they'll come out individually to take a picture, and then they can send that to family, or they can print it off and post it for that particular resident. We had Thanksgiving and Christmas food baskets. We did it a little differently this year, or last year, 2020. For Thanksgiving, we focused on hospices, and I'll explain that in just a little bit. And then for Christmas, we focused on home health. So for Thanksgiving, I went around to every single hospice, and I dropped off with their administrator or director a letter and a packet, a folder that just explained, we want to sponsor one of your families that may be struggling for Thanksgiving. We'll offer them food and decorations and plates and 4 little sides and dessert, cups and a drinks for a family of 4 to 6. And then we got together with, I think we had 6 different sponsors. And again, I didn't pay for this on my own. I think I paid for the baskets. Everyone sponsored. Someone sponsored a turkey. Someone sponsored the honey ham. Someone sponsored the 4 sides. Someone sponsored the dessert. And we all came together, and on a particular day, each hospice would send a representative or send their whole team. And we had what we call KBTX. It may be a different one for your news outlets. We'd have them videotape, and we took pictures of those events and marketed that event. And then in Christmas, we did food baskets for home health. And in both situations, we had some state representatives come and promote the event as well. Again, that wasn't through me, it was through a connection in our community. And I was working with competitors. I was working with other home health and hospices. They were working together as competitors, but they came together for the event. And I've had more people, more companies come to me and say, I want to participate, and we want to give more than one basket to a hospice or more than one basket to a home health. So this is growing. It's not just, it's kind of getting bigger than me now at this point, and Visiting Angels. Christmas caroling at facilities, someone else put this together, and we had the marketing list to email it out to everybody. So I emailed it out, and one particular day, she had an itinerary of 6 or 7 facilities, and she would just tell us where to meet, and we would either carpool or we would go do an intake and come back, and we would Christmas carol at different facilities. That was the most fun. And we had residents coming out of their rooms, and this was mostly independent living facilities. We have an Alzheimer's unit. They weren't letting us in, so we sang outside of their dining room window, and they were dancing inside. It was really cool. almost playing the guitar. And then hosting happy hour for facilities. This seems to be, I never knew that seniors like booze so much. But this seems to be the biggest turnout. I go to Kroger and I buy the big bucket margarita mix, and there's a bag of margarita mix in it, and the activity director can pour it in there, and it has a little spout. So I buy 2 of them, and one they can have alcohol in it, and one they don't have to. Facilities provide their own ice, and then we do chips and salsa, and they love margarita mixers. It's like their favorite thing to do. And even the seniors that don't have alcohol in their drinks act like they have alcohol in their drinks. And we do those on Fridays. So every Friday we do a margarita mixer somewhere. So, we'll go to the next. And the activity directors facilitate it, because I don't know what medications, or I don't get into that. I think I repeated this one. What if you're in a dry spell for referrals? You stop marketing? No. You almost act like you're doing so good, you're doing so great, and you're just, I think you have to give that air of everything's okay, and it just attracts referrals. It attracts people to come to you and say, I need help. I'm stressed out, you don't look stressed out, and I need your help. Like, I want you to help me with this situation. And I think that's where you can come in and just be a cheerleader for your vendors, for your referral sources. So keep going, results aren't instant, and don't be reactive, be proactive. I schedule my marketing calendar 3 months in advance because I'm crazy, but I think it helps to where you know where your target is, you know who you're holding accountable and who's holding you accountable, and you're building relationships with other referral sources. So they may not use you right now because they may have a preferred vendor, but I promise you they're going to mess up. I promise you someone's going to change roles that they were very, very loyal to, and I promise you're next. You're that next person that they're going to call. It always happens. So once you get your referral, always, always, always follow up with your referral source. So my rule of thumb is if they call me, I'm calling them back. If they text me, I'll text them back unless they wanted me to call them back. So I regurgitate, or I mirror regurgitate was not the word. I mirror their referral, their communication tactic. Because I have a lot of young vendors, I have a lot of young marketers and social workers, and then I have my very seasoned nurses and social workers that want a phone call even if it's 9 o'clock at night. Follow up consistently. So even if you didn't start services, they want to know that you had that conversation. They want to know that they heard your voice. They want to know that they spoke directly to you and you were a reflection of them. I thank my referral sources. You can do, I think every market's different. We're in a college town, so a $5 gift card is like gold in our town for Starbucks. Taking them out to brunch or lunch for repeated referrals. Mani-pedi if you're a serial referral source for me. And I get to the perks of that as well, so I love it. And it's social time, and you'd be surprised. We don't talk about work, we talk about life. Again, you're emotionally invested in your referral source. Send them a referral back. I think that is the best way to show, hey, you trusted me, I trust you. You trusted me with your family, I can trust you with this referral. And then send them, okay, so I don't do this for everyone, but I have had referral sources whose mom has passed away, and they kept working through it because that's just the industry we work in, who's had family members that are sick. I will send them dinner. I'll send them groceries through Instagram. I will do whatever I can to make sure they know, hey, I'm thinking about you right now. I hope everything's okay. Again, you're invested in them. Work smart, not hard. So there is an app called Canva. Canva is my savior because
it's a good one.
It makes everything that I market look professional. You can do it on your phone.
It's like Mac. It looks like Mac design.
It's a big C. So when you have the app, I think it's on Android too. I'm not 100% sure.
It is.
And it saves all of your it saves all of your work, even for years. So, I have things on here from last year, from 2 years ago, that I can reuse. So if I have an annual event, if I have a quarterly in-service that I do with the home health, they know who I am because of my flyer. I know that everyone thinks, oh, you're Visiting Angels, and everyone knows your logo. They don't always know your logo. They know how you market yourself. And I think flyers are so important, whether you send them via text or digitally, email, or you print them out and you leave them at an office. I think that's the way to market yourself. It's visual. Post on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So I don't necessarily post on the day I did the event, unless it was a Thanksgiving basket or the Christmas basket. If I do events at facilities, I'm posting right now while I'm not actively in Brazos County or Brazos Valley, because I want people to think I'm actively marketing even though they're not hearing from me. Or I'll schedule emails to go out on the days that I know I'm going to be doing intakes and I'm going to be bogged down and I'm not going to be able to reach out to folks.
Hey, question. You're doing that all on your own. Do you work with Home Care Interact or?
So they do work.
My question is, are we not paying them to do these things?
Great question.
Because I call Emily, I've got social media, but I don't know how to post it. I'm not techie. I want to go make the phone ring. But if I can have them doing that and I'm paying them to do it, why?
So real quick, I don't want to take what Claudia's doing here, but
Sure,
they
sure.
do more generic stuff. I want them to do.
Yeah, that's why I
more
wrote down
localized
local.
stuff. But, and I think that's great feedback for everyone in the room to want to give. I've had a conversation with him as well, but I think sometimes you're going to know a lot more than Cody or Emily. Nothing against what they're doing.
Sure.
You're going to know the market better. So I would not just, you could give them half of it, but if you want to do some localized stuff, I would not take your finger off the pulse there.
Sure.
I think it's going to require so
If
much.
I send it to her, she
Not necessarily
posts
you,
it.
but yeah, or you're going to have to feed them.
Okay, I think that's the problem. I'm not
That's-
feeding them. She's
okay.
done it every time I've sent it. I'm not complaining about
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
She doesn't know what to send.
That's right, that's right.
we just need to take more pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
No, I was just going to say they've always told us from day one, send it, or we can't do local.
Right, right.
Okay,
Okay.
so that's probably getting the message again.
They were pretty forward and honest. They cannot market our area for
Right.
us. They can only be broad. We have to support the local market. So those of us that are in that role, we have to send it to them.
I dig that.
And it just across the board, they're not gonna be able to deliver that. And they were very honest about it. So for those of us that are paying them, it is a chunk, but it is something that if we force them to work, they will do.
Yeah, there you go,
And
that's it.
it's just finding that person internally to do it.
So I guess I would encourage, I like what you said about your podcast. You would do 3 a day on Friday, and then he would work on them and post them at various times. So even if you have like a good chunk, like an hour of time, I would maybe schedule to email those particular posts at different parts of the week, so they don't all hit your social media at once. That'd be my only suggestion, on that. And then I think there's 3 types of posts that I guess you would say Brazos Valley does. We do the look what I did, see what I did at this facility, and it's just marketing what we did and who we blessed at that facility. And there's appreciation posts, whether we're appreciating a particular home health facility, caregiver, those are the appreciation ones. And then there's education, and I get those from AARP, I get those from LinkedIn, and I will repost an article or a newsletter, and then I'll put in some more information on it. So I try to change it up because my audience is going to be different. Some families are going to be reading, and then some local folks that know these faces and know these people are going to be reading it. Okay. And then always make it your business to know who's hiring and for what position. So this is kind of like that next level of networking. I can't tell you how many good candidates I have sent to assisted living, nursing facilities, home health, hospices, that are forever grateful for our recommendation or a reference for a good nurse, for a good behavioral health nurse, physical therapist that was looking to move out of the hospital maybe. I mean, just be a networker and not just for the care, because you want good people in referral sources and good positions. I think this industry will 9 times out of 10 take really, really good people and spit them back out. It's a very consuming industry, and there's not a lot of people that understand that. And so really taking care of the folks in your referral sources are going to be very helpful. And you just never know who's going to be a competitor one day and turn into a referral source the next day.
Or come and work for you.
Or come and work for you. Yeah.
If they see how you treat people.
So I think that's kind of more down the line thinking, but once you've been in your industry long enough, you completely understand how a good person in a referral source or in a position, a good candidate will completely affect you ever receiving referrals, or big picture, those residents receiving good care, good quality customer service. So I think you owe it to your communities. I think you owe it to your community to be to take some responsibility in that and make sure that good candidates get into those positions. Celebrate milestones with referral sources. So Traditions is a huge referral source for us. Traditions Home Health and Hospice. They moved out of their office building and they built a building, and we celebrated with cookies, individually wrapped cookies at their IDT, at their case conference. Any type of big milestones, we want to celebrate with our referral sources. So make it your business to know what's going on with your home health, your assisted living, not just on Nurses Week, which is coming up, or Skilled Nursing Facilities Week. Make sure to know the intimate details of your referral sources and celebrate it with them. When they reach a big goal, if they have a big goal for their staff, or they've hired a candidate that was really important and crucial to their team, celebrate that with them. Or if they offer a new service, I'm part of a networking group, so I make it a point to find out if they accept certain insurances, if certain home health offers speech therapy and outside certain areas, if they offer behavioral health nursing, because those are the calls that we're going to get by family members. So the more you know as a resource, the more marketable you are. Again, you may not start services, but they are going to send people your way.
What networking group?
So we are in College Station, Bryan College Station. There is a little town called Brenham, whole little ball game over here. And Brenham is so small. Everyone is
half hour away from College Station.
About half hour away.
Yep.
They're so small, everyone kind of forgets about Brenham. And so Brandy, who used to be in my position, started a networking group there and kind of hosted it. And she would find sponsors for the year. Well, it kind of dwindled down because the host would pick a day out of the month, and they would pick a restaurant, and it might be a haphazard event scheduled. So we did it for the second Tuesday of every month. We have it planned for the year. They pick their restaurant. We have 2 hosts, and they basically decide, they collect door prizes, and they host this big lunch. They talk about their services. Each person introduces themselves. That's at the networking lunch. And then they send flyers to me that I will mail out in an email group, and it's free marketing for them. I pay for constant contact, but I'm keeping this network going. So I may not be in Brenham, I'm 30 minutes away, but we receive a lot of business out of Brenham, and I'm not actively there except once a month, twice a month at most.
You're also on the APS, you're president of the APS Association, weren't you?
Yes. That's down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not there.
Okay, sorry. Make sure you're short selling yourself there.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, so next one, I'm sorry. So being an avid volunteer in your community, I guess we can talk about APS, but if you're in Lions Club or Rotary, I mean, use that to your advantage. Bring people out of the industry into your industry. Help them understand the challenges that you face in your industry, or the things that celebrate the small victories with them. the more they know about what you do, the more likely they are to refer to you. And they're outside of your industry, and you're already going to these events. You're going to these lunches, Rotary, Lions Club. If you're part of Chamber of Commerce, they have networking. I don't do a lot of after hours because I have active kiddos, but if you can do the after hours events, welcoming new businesses, great opportunity to get an entire business to understand what you do and get to know a face with a name. I serve on the Adult Protective Services Volunteer Board. In Texas, it's APS. Out of Texas, I think every state has a different group, and I think I've heard some good things and some not so good things from APS or from something
I've lost two 24/7s here recently because of DHR and APS.
Okay.
They're in bed with somebody that's dirty. I don't know, but I didn't know there was a volunteer board. I may go volunteer and
Yes. So I would highly,
you get arrested for killing someone.
no, I would highly encourage you to understand and try to so volunteers are always welcome and needed on volunteer boards. And once you're part of the volunteer board, you'll understand the challenges that caseworkers face every day. They are not active marketers like we are, so they depend on us for resources, for help, for elder law connections, for guardianship type cases, for complicated, I have a daughter, I have a mom and a daughter type situation, and I have a family member that's in New Mexico. What can we do to help? So our board raises money and does the events out in the community to A, educate what APS can and cannot do, and B, to raise funds that the government, that APS funds cannot pay for out of state funding. So we will raise money to fly a family member from New Mexico in to help care for a loved one. You know, we'll fly that patient out or Greyhound bus that patient out to family members. Sponsor and hosting that networking luncheon, and if anyone wants more info, I can totally help you on doing that. It's not as hard as it sounds. Health fairs, I think they're going to be more common this year. I think they may be outdoors, or if they're indoors, there may be a limited amount of time for those. So those are great opportunities to stay in front of seniors or caregivers that are caring for seniors, like family members. Community activities, and then activities at senior living communities, which I think I meant to say senior communities like the Lincoln Center. I'm trying to think, the folks that are going weekly to senior communities. That's all I have. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you all.
Feedback, questions, ideas, things that y'all want to do, have done, have had success?
I want to say thank you for all the great ideas you just had. What you reminded me of is even when things stop, to keep going.
Right.
And that's very, very, in the last 16 months for all of us, a lesson that we've all had to learn in a very difficult way, because we didn't know what was going to happen from day to day in the last 16 months. And for those of us that have had staffing shortages and whatnot, this is a good reminder that we just need to keep pushing and keep going. And so thank you for the reminder.
You're welcome.
A lot of these little ideas are great, but really it's the overall attitude there that I really needed to hear.
You're welcome, because what you're planning right now, you're not going to harvest until a later season. So don't think that what you're doing right now is going to automatically just rain referrals today and tomorrow. But I think it's great that you brought that up, because I also actively try to recruit caregivers, and I recruit them from family members. When I go to a hospice or a home health agency, there are caregivers caring for their patients. So those nurses know them intimately. Those social workers know them intimately. As soon as I say it, the chaplains are already thinking, and they have the Rolodex of people that they stay in touch with. Those are your future caregivers. And those are folks that didn't do it for money. They had a personal relationship with their loved one that either went through the surgery, went through the procedure, or passed away. And they may want to fill their time with companionship or volunteering, and guess what? They get paid to come volunteer with us, and they get to learn skill sets. Craig had mentioned I don't have an office where I used to have an office anymore, because we converted that into a training room. We have a bed. We have, nightstands, we have pillboxes, we have a walker, wheelchair, Hoyer lift. We have all these amenities in there to train caregivers in that training room, to train brand new caregivers. I've had servers, I've had bartenders, I've had McDonald's, drive-through folks come and work for us, and they learn from the bottom up. And I will tell you, 9 times out of 10, those are my most successful caregivers because they love conversation. They don't know any of the bad habits. I don't have to retrain them on how to use a Hoyer lift, or this is how we lift with a gait belt. They now know the correct way to do it. So I don't have to untrain bad habits. And I can't teach conversation. I can't teach customer service. You've got to have that from here, empathy and compassion. So,
Great.
yeah,
Well said.
good. Hopefully that helps.
Very, very good.
Thoughts, ideas?
Yeah, Claudia, whenever you create that content on Canva, you use the home office marketing guideline.
Yes,
Mark?
absolutely. Push meds? Nope.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
Exactly.
Can't say that I have. No.
Minister Mom's meds? Absolutely not.
Also volunteering on the APS board, I'm also part of that. And that will bring a lot of people through your doors also. During COVID, like for the gift of gold, which is, picking something off of a tree and buying, all the offices were closed, so you couldn't have them drop off anywhere. The APS caseworkers couldn't do anything, so we had every gift dropped off at Visiting Angels. So that brought in 275 people to my office that would have normally not been there. So, no, they may not need here now, but they know where I'm at. And so starting yesterday, we started a fan drive to provide fans, and we still can't go into the guest office. So guess where they're all being dropped off at? So, being giving back, but also you receive something for that. So it's,
Question.
It's a win-win situation.
For both of you, with y'all both saying that y'all volunteer to do stuff with APS, is there's not a situation, I don't know, I'm educating myself on, like I said, I lost 2 24/7s that we were doing. I know when we deserve to lose a case, I know we're doing good and we're doing bad. We're doing really good on these 2 cases. It's not like it was 20 hours. It was 2 big boys taken from us, but they came in and took the, like their power of attorney. Somehow they're getting power of attorney. Is it somebody at APS that's getting power of attorney, or they're sending that to like the conservatorship or the guardians or whatever?
It has to be an outside source. It has to, so it'd be somebody that, is licensed by your state
Sure.
to be the guardian.
Like a
So
state
APS
guardian.
can't do that.
So they're not like in bed with another agency where they're getting paid or something
I would
fishy.
never, ever take it bad if it's taken away from you. The fact that y'all provided excellent care to them, they're not gonna forget who you are, and they're not
Oh,
gonna
no,
forget
they're,
your
like,
company.
we were kind of butting heads. I said, I need to know, why are we losing this care? She's calling us and saying the other agency that y'all put in there, because they were working with another agency, and they said they were leaving us because of money. I said, I'm the owner, I can sharpen the pencil, let's talk. And I said, what are they charging? I was just direct, and they said, well, I'm not quite sure. I was like, so hang on, you're leaving me because we're more expensive and you're saving money, but yet you don't know. Like, what's the other agency? And they said, well, it's just an agency that we have a better relationship with. And I said, well, who is? She goes, well, actually, I'm not real sure. So you don't know what it costs and you don't know the name of the agency. I was nailing them to the cross. I was pissed off. It's still pissed off. My blood pressure's getting hot right now. That's a big case. And then just another one Monday.
Hours. So one of the things about, happens is that we're a college town also, but a lot of those caseworkers are brand new. So when they say, I don't know, is probably a true statement. They probably don't know. I found out with this one in guardianship with, I talked to Brennan about, is that we ended up managing that case basically for APS because she was so brand new that she really didn't know things. But they also can't tell you a lot of things either, because if it went into guardianship, then that company then makes all the decisions for what's
I need
best
to be
for that
buddied up with the
client.
guardianship.
So I really think volunteering on the board would bring in relationships. Now, you have to realize that a lot of those cases that you're gonna get, they're gonna be emergency care, they're gonna be small, not great things to do. However, when they do run, because not every APS case they have is somebody that doesn't have money.
Sure. These
24/7
two had
out of
money.
one that has money, it's just that, you know, they don't have, their family members fight
Yeah.
for the money, and so nobody can do it, she's got dementia, so she has the money to stay home. So those, even though you think that's probably not the clientele I'm going out of, the fruit's really good if you'll take those small little things
Oh,
that
absolutely.
are temporary.
14 months she's been on my service from APS, 24/7. Wow.
And APS is paying.
Four
for all of
children,
it?
no,
Oh,
four
geez.
children dispersed throughout the United States. No one has made a decision. The closest daughter is in Wichita Falls, and hey, we will pay whatever. Just mom not leaving home, but APS is involved. And it was a referral from a crappy, like, jumping the fence, dementia patient, leaving, but working with that case manager that, hey, we'll call the cops, we'll make sure things are okay, our caregiver will stay. She turned it over to us, and we didn't know she had money, and her daughters and sons did. And they had paid for her care for 14 months at $22 an hour.
Right. And you know, that person that you probably talked to has a director. So you could always just ask, can you give me your director's name?
Apparently she was the person in
Oh,
charge.
she was the person.
Apparently. I don't trust all of it, but I'm being told some of it's still new. And to really throw you a curveball, I think one of our caregivers is power of attorney now.
If that's the case, that's an APS claim.
Definitely.
You would
But
turn
I'm
that
not
into
buddies with the
APS.
APS because they took the last case. I
You do
talked
that,
to you
no,
offline.
you do that anonymously, you pick up that line and you do it anonymously, and say, I think that there's a caregiver that
Oh,
works
we've
for
already
me
had that call.
And so they should be.
Revisit that also.
Yeah, fun times.
Sounds like a violation of HIPAA.
That's dirty, yeah, I like that. Okay, so great conversation, I wanna just kind of continue facilitating this good stuff. I'm just kind of writing down some ideas here. I've said this to y'all before, this is kind of, I'll say, this kind of 101 if somebody were to start tomorrow. First thing I'd say is go around every referral source, find out what their case conferences, and market during those things. That way you're getting visibility, even if you can't get hold of somebody, you can drop off a plate of chicken minis, the case management, or something like that, just so you're on the radar. They see you, everybody sees your branded stuff, whatever you give them, again, make sure you brand the heck out of that thing. I'll talk about branded caregivers too. We haven't talked about that. I wanted to make, add this back on my
I
mind.
tried it, but it burns, and they scream.
All right, who's,
You're turning bright red.
Hey, but then they are part of the team, and they'll take you to the train station, and they'll do anything for you.
Golden bones.
No, how instead coaching now.
I know folks have gotten referrals from caregivers at a grocery store wearing branded stuff. Who's doing a good job? Leanne, you're nodding your head. I'm just kind of
I'm doing an amazing job.
Yeah, you are. So, a fantastic job. So you're giving them scrubs, not t-shirts.
No, they have their option. We were buying scrubs and having them in-house, and they just got too big. So what we do is we have t-shirts. They have to leave orientation with 2 t-shirts, because that's how I pay them for orientation. But they have to leave with a t-shirt. They have to wear them with slacks, not just leggings or anything like that, slacks or scrub bottoms. They have to be solid. They can bring us, if they want to wear scrubs, which is our preferred, they can bring us scrubs, and we pay to have the brand on there. But they have to be in solid top branded to be in compliance. I cannot tell you how many referrals I've gotten from people and say, how did you see that? I saw someone in HEB helping a client. I saw so-and-so at such and such, she had visiting neighbors on, lots of them.
Referrals from the liquor store.
Plus,
That was my question.
Yes, plus, I also have had 2 instances where someone has called and gave me a heads up on someone not doing what they're supposed to do, and I thanked them for doing so, and then I could address it and coach it and fix it.
If you're not having so how do you make them, is it part of your policy procedure? How do you?
It's all of our, part of our policy and procedure, plus we put, a follow-up on the certs and evals for 30 days, and one of us goes out to the home while they're there to make sure that they are. When they come pick up their checks, if they're not in uniform, and we say, hey, you just left the place, you're not in uniform, you know, so they can get right up for it. We go and look at our supervisory visits. We'll call the facility where they're signing in. Was everybody in dress code today? Did they sign in on time? And I mean, we set the expectation up from the very beginning, and we just, you know, and I would tell them in orientation too. If I call and ask you, did you wear booty shorts last night? That means I know you did. So don't do it.
Probably saying they're asking
Somebody likes booty shorts.
Don't lie to me. Don't be doing it.
Jake, what are y'all doing in Waco? What do y'all do, offer scrubs, t-shirts? How are y'all, is it mandatory, is it optional, are you giving shirts, like, tail ducting or what?
Yeah, so we have scrubs, they're always in our office, it's kind of like a display rack.
Yeah.
Where they can do a kind of shop around for scrubs, we do payroll deductions for those.
Okay.
So right now we're giving a free, t-shirt, and a t-shirt.
Okay. So you're giving away one on the front end, and I'm saying you have to wear this
But if you
for your outsourcing clients, or do you make it optional?
Yeah, Disney needs a t-shirt or a scrub top, we don't have real tight. Not a, but
Well, because that is some of the issue, right? Because some of your carriers are working with defenders, so they're not wearing branded stuff, because they're working for, unfortunately.
Change it.
Huh?
Change it. If you work for somebody else, change it to
we want you to wear ours to
I'm
their
giving
house.
you your 100% paycheck, you give me your 100%. Now we're working for the lower people, but, you know, plus it's also helpful with marketing because when, hospice goes in and sees someone, they don't, probably going to enter in conversation, but they can look up and see that that's a visiting angel. And then we get conversation back about it.
Good.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, good. So, yeah, Jared, yes, ma'am.
At some point during, this, are we gonna talk about disciplining caregivers? Is that
Yes.
gonna come up in conversation?
Leanne is talking about caregiver onboarding, but you do a great job with that. If you could
Discipline
improv,
caregivers?
yeah, like direct deposit, things like that. I would love for you to address that. I think,
tells me that I should do that, but you do, and I'm like,
oh, well,
How do you build relationships with them?
that's waiting 30 days before they get direct deposit. I've talked about that a lot. I think that's a great idea. It's a pain in the rear for Syntex. I know, you know, what you get is you see them every day. Well, sometimes only mailing a few checks too, so you're just doing an overnight check and it's $30 for them mailing a check.
We're paying for that.
Well, that was,
so that's why I don't like them doing that. I'm like, no, you can snail mail it to me.
bring that forward? Yes, if they're not, yeah. So hopefully you gotta write that down, because they're open for feedback, so that's.
And they do it,
Okay,
I
they're
have
similar.
somebody that doesn't have direct deposit,
Okay.
I'll have it sent to their house so they can send it to the office now. Yeah, usually it's there. Yeah, I do my.
25 cents versus $25. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, just to leave this out, I think it's really important that everybody is having caregivers branded. There's so many, the benefits far outweigh the potential risks, I think, in that case. So, okay, so general marketing ideas. I know we touched a little bit on that this morning, but it's worth exploring again. And actually, Jake, if I can have you show a bit with your team in Waco, I know y'all have 2.5 marketers, but what would you say the top 3 things that have moved the needle for Waco or Temple this year have been when it comes to it? If you can attribute an ROI, I know it's kind of hard sometimes, but to an event, what do you think some of the best things that Waco's done are?
Our cookouts are probably the most positive.
Yeah.
We do a ton of cookouts, like, there's a stretch we just wrapped up Waco, we took the grill down to Temple then, and they used it for a month, so Waco just did like a full month of just 4 cookouts a week, so we hit just a ton of places, so that's probably, we're probably known for that around here now, is our cookout. Last year,
Facility then?
Yeah, give an example of it, one of your cookouts.
yeah, so we'll go, I mean, we'll prepare food for, I think our
Pull a
largest one we've
grill.
done is